Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about what you as a divine feminine are going through currently. If you're listening to this, you are at the stage where you have energetically merged with your divine counterpart, and what you're currently doing is, of course, you're learning to balance these energies within you, because right now at times you do embody your other self, which is your divine masculine, but also healing wise or purging wise, what you're doing is you're alchemizing and helping your divine masculine to do the energetic work. Like, you are the one that does the energetic work mostly. I don't want to say that the divine feminine is the only one that does it, because I don't believe that it's what it is. However, she does, let's say, the big part of it. And so, of course, again, if this message came up for you, then of course you understand this is what you're doing. If you didn't know, but you already know that you have energetically merged with your divine masculine, then this is what's happening to you. And there is something that I wish to speak about when it comes to that, because we as the divine feminines are, of course, very nurturing, very caring, right? I am not saying again that the divine masculine isn't. I'm just kind of maybe accentuating the divine feminine's like typical attributes. So because of your very caring and nurturing nature, we divine feminines kind of have this tendency to, in a way, like, mother other people. It doesn't necessarily have to be specifically our divine masculine, but we are very caring people. We are very kind people, and we nurture. We want to make people that are important to us to feel loved, to feel seen, to feel appreciated, right? And a lot of times, as a part of that nurturing nature of ours, it is also doing what we can for other people, right? Because we are givers. And this is kind of what really brought me to record this, because this is something that I had to face myself, and I figured that this is very, very important, because just as on your journey you have been learning to stand on your own feet, right? To not need any kind of external validation, or not really relying on anything outside of yourself. I'm not saying you shouldn't accept help when it's offered to you, but it's more of like your individual journey has been very much learning how to navigate your own feelings, right? How to alchemize everything, how to ground, how to clear your energy. And now you are at the stage where what you're doing is you're doing what you have been doing for yourself up until the moment you yourself have come to your own inner union. You're doing these things now for your divine counterpart. And what comes with it that you kind of would like to do for your divine masculine precisely the same things that you're doing for yourself, and that is not wrong at all. However, what I really wanted to speak about was mother wounds that our divine masculines do carry with themselves. This is also something that we divine feminines also can carry, and a lot of it has to do with what the divine masculine kind of grows up with, because obviously for all of us, what we grow up with tends to shape the way we treat other people, especially in relationships and or friendships. And it's of course the same for the divine masculine. Most of the collective, if not all, the whole divine masculine collective carries a mother wound. So if they had like a helicopter parent, so the kind of parent or mother in this case, because I'm talking about mother wounds specifically, if their mother has been like a helicopter parent, so fixing everything for them, getting everything for them, always there, always available, like basically just being quite intrusive to their own peace. Like imagine just like either a young boy or like a adolescent sitting in their own room, not necessarily doing anything specific, just being in their own space, I don't know, studying, reading, watching movies, you know, you name it, right? And the mother just comes in and is absolutely overbearing and is like, oh honey, would you like me to get you something? Oh come on, you haven't eaten for a while, let me get you something to eat. It's like very much keeping the child in like a bubble where the mother is always present. And so that's one example. Another example would be like the other side of that spectrum, where the mother is distant, where the mother is not either physically or emotionally available, you know, for whatever reason, which makes the divine masculine as a child develop certain patterns within him because the mother wasn't there, and it kind of creates a certain pattern that they believe that they kind of have to either act out to get the mother's attention or present physically or emotionally. So either they would become like, either they would be acting out, right, or they would become perfectionist and trying to, like, let's say, anticipate the needs and what the mother would want in order to get approval, in order to get any kind of validation. There's also mothers who are extremely judgmental. They don't necessarily need to be like distant. They may be there very much, and they also can be a typical helicopter mother, but they're extremely judgmental, very critical of their child, very shaming, kind of instilling in the divine masculine the false belief that they're kind of never good enough. Like no matter what they do, it's never enough, never good enough. It's never what it's needed. It's like sometimes, like, I don't even know how to maybe describe it, or like give a good example, but like very judgmental. Like with a mother like this, there's absolutely no room for a young boy, or let's say a young divine masculine, right? Because it doesn't necessarily have to be a human boy, it can be a human female, that is the divine masculine, that the child just never does well. Like no matter what the child does, maybe even if the young divine masculine would be exceeding their own expectation, like their own capability, it wouldn't be enough for the mother, because it wouldn't be enough for the idea that she has, let's say, her child should be. So a lot of times a divine masculine like that would be, let's say, the black sheep of the family. It would just never be enough. Even if they, like, for the rest of their lives, they would live like the absolute picture perfect idea of their mothers, what a, let's say, masculine should do in life, it would still not be enough. It just always just not be enough. There are also these mothers that use their children, a lot of times sons, not always, But those mothers will use the child as a surrogate partner, emotionally, of course. So which means that the mother is going to lay burdens, emotional and or practical burdens onto the child that of course it's inappropriate, of like, just big picture wise, it's just inappropriate to do it, of course, but it's just absolutely too much for the child at their age. So it can be that the mother kind of expects and tries to like drag out emotional, let me just put it this way, fulfillment from the child as she would from a partner, by relying like how difficult, let's say, financial situation that they are in, or how emotionally or physically depleted she is, or how badly she has been treated, let's say, by some sort of previous partner or stuff like this. All of these things, as much as you should absolutely be honest with people around you and you should like be authentic, there are certain things you should not burden your child with, especially when they are young. So like, if your divine masculine has gone through any of this kind of experiences, even if you don't really know, like, let's say 100%, maybe you're just aware that the mother wound is there because you notice like the signs or the patterns within your divine masculine, what kind of can happen, because this was something that kind of came up for me and I wanted to touch upon that, was that as their divine feminine, you kind of may want to like come in and basically mother them, right? So maybe not mother them, but you kind of wish to care for them and you want to protect them. You do want to do what you can to help them, right, out of the situation, out of the patterns. And something that is extremely important for you to remember, and this is actually just universal because it doesn't really matter whether you're the divine feminine or the divine masculine, is that you as a person, your responsibility is only your own well-being. So you as a divine feminine, your responsibility, it is not to fix your divine masculine. It is not to kind of go in and give them all of the solutions. It is not your job to mother them or to reparent them when you meet them, or when you like, when you're connecting, or if you like, let's say you're reuniting, right? It is not your job to do these things, because their responsibility is their own well-being and their emotional state. So basically any kind of issues that they are going through and they have been working through, it is their own responsibility. And here there's like a very important distinction that needs to be made, because I don't want you to misunderstand. It is not that you're supposed to just kind of be cold to them and not offer any kind of support, like if it's needed, like, I don't know, your current situation, if you're in contact, right? If your divine masculine kind of asks for, let's say, your presence or any ideas, right? Counsel, whatever that may be, of course you should do that. If you feel within you that you should intervene in that, and it's like, let's say, within your right to do that, then do that. However, if you're not in contact with your divine masculine just yet, then of course you should not either break the no contact, you should not reach out to them and try to like give them solutions. And this is something that I feel is extremely important, because at any point in time, like no matter where you are in the journey, or when you have been looking back, you have been learning that you as a divine feminine, you are one being with your divine masculine, right? So some people will kind of say that your divine counterpart is your mirror reflection, right? So the same in certain ways, and then the opposites in different ways, right? A lot of people say that you as a being at the core, who you are, is the same. However, some of the earthly things will be kind of opposite. And yes, that is true as well. Because I don't want to kind of feed into the separation idea, I don't think anybody should. I just kind of think of it like, well, we're just one being. Yes, we're different aspects of that one being, but we're still one being. And so there's no need to kind of separate us, right? So at any point in time, you have to remember that your divine masculine is you, but in their human body. So if you kind of, because you as a divine feminine, if you're the divine feminine listening to this, you are always either aware or made aware what your divine masculine is going through, either because you feel it, because you know this, because maybe you kind of are existing let's say in the same reality, and so you always kind of know what they go through. But what is really important is that they are you. So they are extremely intelligent, they're extremely bright, they are wise, they are fully 100% capable of overcoming anything that the divine has put in their path. They're equipped to deal and to overcome and be victorious over the things that are happening, let's say, to them, right? So if your divine masculine is struggling with mother wounds, which, let's say, just to make it easier, all of them are, or at least most of them, then as much as you kind of want to, I don't know, let's say, give them the clarity, help them, kind of give them the solution, you shouldn't. And it is really out of love, because on the highest level, which your job is to be on that highest level and to always have that highest perspective, is that you need to allow them to have a chance to take a good look at their own patterns and their own false beliefs within them, and to overcome them, to heal them, to release these things, right? To release any kind of people that either enable or cause toxicity within them, right? They are just fully capable of doing that. What I wanted to say before was that for me personally, when I kind of got the very big clarity about just that, about when it comes to my divine masculine, my initial reaction was grief, because how horrible is it to grow up in a household when you're subjected to any of every kind of reason that causes you to then later on have mother wounds, and then for these mother wounds to cause you to have certain patterns, right, that you then live by, that you believe that this is what reality is, this is what life is. But then afterwards, besides the grief, my initial reaction was I've got to help. I have to do something. I need to maybe come with some clarity. I need to help. No. And once I kind of took a few breaths, I realized that this is just another let's say, path on their journey, like it's another step on their journey. And it's really the best thing you can do for your connection, yes, but it's really for them, is to just let them be. If you are listening to it, then there's a big chance that you're in no contact with your divine masculine. However, you have energetically merged, or something similar, like a similar situation to that. However, your job is to give them space, to hold space for them while they're getting on with their journey, because they're absolutely fully capable. What you have thought about yourself, that you have maybe been a little bit afraid or ashamed of acknowledging to yourself. So if you consider yourself very emotionally mature, right, very wise, very intelligent, very capable, because a lot of times we divine feminines kind of carry this shame wound, where it's kind of instilled in us that we should not like speak about these things loudly, because like what kind of feminines we are if we kind of speak about ourselves like this, that we're very egoistic and all of these things that I'm not going to get into right now. But all of these things that you think yourself to be, they are. So you have to understand, and you are divine feminine, you're a light being, you're a very old soul that has been on this journey and has been on earth many times before. You have acquired so much wisdom within you that even though you have come to earth yet again, right, and you have been influenced by the amnesia, right, so you didn't remember who you are and how powerful you are and why you are here. Now you're remembering these things, right? Despite that, there's an immense amount of wisdom within you, and you have to remember that the same amount of wisdom is within your divine masculine, and it is really the height of your love and your respect for them to allow them to do what they are doing currently. As much as you wish also out of love to kind of intervene, to help, to do something, do not do that, because they are receiving the help that they, let's say, are allowed on this journey from your spirit guides, from angels and ancestors and high level beings, right, that are working for the unconditional love, like that they're helping all of us really, whether they are specifically assigned to just us or more people than just us, let's say, or like a lot of people at the same time. It doesn't really matter. But you have to trust the same way that you have trusted in your own journey, and you obviously have learned during the duration of your journey that you are receiving precisely the help that you need, whether it was through a different person externally, right? Maybe in your 3D reality, maybe it has been through meditation, through downloads, through any kind of I don't know, let's say information that you consume in whichever way. You are always getting that help and precisely what you needed at each step of your journey, and you have to trust that the same thing is happening for them. It is paramount, I'm hearing, to try to not see the worst in them as they're getting through it, because if you are in no contact with them currently, probably your last, let's say, memories of them from the 3D, right? So the last time, or the last times, when you were interacting with them before, they will still very much unhealed. So your, like, let's say, memories of your divine masculine from basically Earth, whatever you're remembering, it's there to trigger you mostly. I can tell you this much. Maybe you're already above this. So, but it's very like part of our journey as the divine feminine is to kind of overcome seeing our divine masculine as the one to blame for everything, because obviously it is not true. We should not be blaming them because they're not to blame for everything. Yes, they have been doing some crazy shit in the 3D, because that is just what you as a soul, as a being, have signed up for. That's also a different story. However, yes, so it's paramount for you as the divine feminine, while you're seeing your divine masculine going through these things. And I can tell you, without knowing who I'm really speaking to, your divine masculine is doing huge leaps in their evolvement and their like ascension. They're doing it really fast, and they are absolutely incredible. Trust them, trust in the divine, trust in yourself, because the more you trust yourself and you understand how capable and powerful you are, that is the same, let's say, opinion that you will have about them, because they are you. And if you're maybe sitting there and struggling and thinking, well, the 3D is kind of showing me something completely different, yes, that's also another story. It's also there to kind of trigger you, to kind of, it's basically a tool for you that shows you and kind of gauges how far you have come. That's also kind of old, like old, your inner state, like let's say from the past, is playing out currently, so just ignore that. But still, again, understand that they are absolutely fully capable. So there's no need for you to come in and mother them, whether you are in contact with them or not. Really trust them, believe in them, because they are incredible. They're just as incredible as you are. Just like, look back in this moment where you're listening to this recording of mine, look back at your own journey. Look at where you started, not like even earlier than that, just like your activation, the moment you met your divine masculine, and compare what kind of person you were, like how much burden you have been carrying within you, how many wounds and patterns, and compared to who you are today. It's an incredible journey. And again, without knowing who I'm speaking to, you have made such progress within yourself. You have to trust that they have done just as big of a progress. So this is what I wanted to share. Please remember that they are very much protected. Both you and your divine masculine are very much protected. You both are very much guided. You're being shown precisely what you need at each moment in time, and you will never be alone. So even if you yourself sit there and think like, well, but I see that their 3D is dissolving around them and they seem all alone. Yes, they may be all alone in the 3D, but I promise you, just the same way you weren't alone, they are not alone either. There is always help available, and it's always going to be given to them, because of course that is just a part of the journey. That is, we're always protected, we're always cared for, we're always incredibly loved. So thank you so much for listening to me. And if you have any questions, in the description box you find my email. If you wish to work with me, I can help you, so you can just shoot me an email and I will get in contact with you. If nothing else, then I will see you another time. Bye.